This cereal is in your child's bowl right now. What's inside is calculated poisoning. We dubbed through court filings from December 2024, lawsuits accusing these exact companies of intentionally designing addictive food for children. Same companies sell different versions in Europe. They know the Canadian version is harmful. They sell it anyway. 1 in 3 Canadian kids is now obese. Type 2 diabetes in elementary schools. These 8 brands are directly responsible. Not partially, directly. This is what they don't want you to see. Let's expose them. Number 8. Gerber Puffs, programming children for addiction. Gerber. The name that equals trust. Parents see that label and think pediatrician-approved nutrition. But here's what's actually happening. Gerber is owned by Nestle, the multinational that employed. That's not conspiracy theory. That's strategy documents from corporate files. The first ingredient in Gerber Puffs, enriched wheat flour. Translation: the grain has been stripped of every nutrient, ground into powder, and then they add back synthetic vitamins in a ratio Nestle calculated would maximize taste preference, not nutrition. The second ingredient, sugar, for a product marketed to babies aged 8 months. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the Canadian Pediatric Society, and Health Canada all recommend zero added sugar for children under 2. Gerber ignores this. One small puff contains 1 gram of sugar. A serving is 13 puffs. That's 13 grams of sugar in what's positioned as a wholesome finger food. But here's what's criminal. Taste preferences formed in infancy are neurologically permanent. A baby fed sweet puffs develops taste receptors that demand sweetness. That preference tracks into childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. Gerber isn't selling a snack, they're installing a biological dependency. By the time this child is a teenager, their brain literally craves processed sweetness. Their dopamine system has been rewired. They're predisposed to obesity, diabetes, and metabolic disease. Gerber costs $5.49 per box for 13 grams of sugar per serving. The actual manufacturing cost is approximately 40 cents. You're paying 1,270% markup on a product that's programming your child for lifelong disease. And Nestle knows this works. They use different formulations in different countries. In Switzerland, Nestle's products have half the sugar. The company that invented the products knows they're harmful. They just sell the harmful version to countries with looser regulations. Canada is one of those countries. Number 7. Heinz baby food pouches. Hidden contamination. Heinz baby food pouches are designed for convenience. Squeeze, feed, done. Parents love the simplicity. The marketing genius is calling them stages. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3. This creates the perception of nutritional progression. It's pure psychology. The stages aren't nutritionally different. They're marketing segments designed to make parents feel like they're making science-based choices. But convenience has a hidden cost. These pouches last 6 months on a shelf. Real pureed food lasts 3 days. How does Heinz achieve this? Heat processing, pH adjustment, preservatives, and added sugars that act as antimicrobials. Your baby is consuming heat-damaged vegetables with added preservatives, but here's where it gets disturbing. In 2024, Kraft Heinz Canada issued a recall for their mixed cereal stage to baby food. The reason? Potential contamination. Insects were found in the product. Insects in baby food. Thousands of pouches had already been consumed by Canadian babies. Parents fed these products to their children, gave them to daycares, and never heard about the recall because Kraft Heinz didn't publicize it. They issued a quiet recall hoping parents wouldn't notice. This isn't an isolated incident. Heinz turkey stew for babies 8 months was recalled multiple times. Insects found. Contamination concerns. The company has a pattern of quality failures in baby products, and when caught, they minimize the damage. No press conferences, no public apologies, no corporate accountability. They just rebranded and continued. Heinz is owned by Kraft Heinz, which reported $28 billion in annual revenue in 2024. They can afford to fix quality control. They choose not to. Why? because fixing quality costs money. Accepting occasional recalls and quietly managing the PR damage costs less. One pouch costs $1.39. Most parents buy 150 pouches annually. That's $208 per year. You're paying premium prices for convenient contamination with hidden additives. Number 6. Dunkaroos and fruit roll-ups. Engineered addiction. Dunkaroos was your childhood, the cookie you dunked into frosting. The snack that defined the 90s. Now it's back, and it's still exactly what it was, engineered to be addictive to children. Here's the ingredient list. Enriched wheat flour, sugar. That's not a snack. That's a formula specifically engineered to trigger dopamine release in developing brains. One serving of Dunkaroos contains 14 grams of sugar. The frosting component is 90% sugar and corn syrup. The cookie is refined flour with zero fiber. This combination creates a blood sugar spike so severe that children experience a dopamine hit followed by a crash. That crash leads to irritability, fatigue, difficulty concentrating. Teachers report classroom behavioral problems directly correlated with snack time. Parents assume their child has ADHD. They get prescriptions. The real problem is the food in their lunchbox. But fruit roll-ups are where this gets genuinely evil. Marketed as fruit snacks, parents believe they're providing nutrition. The front of the package says made with real fruit juice. It's made with 2% fruit juice, 2%. The remaining 98% is corn syrup, dextrose, gelatin, citric acid, and food colorants including yellow 5, yellow 6, and red 40. The fruit is essentially a label marketing tactic. Each roll-up contains 12 grams of sugar in something smaller than a postage stamp. A child consuming to per week is consuming 24 grams of added sugar from just this one product. General Mills, the manufacturer, employs child psychologists to design packaging that appeals to children. They study color psychology, cartoon character appeal, and packaging placement to maximize child engagement. This isn't accidental. They pay specialists to make children want to eat their products. They research how sugar affects the developing brain and use that research to formulate products that are maximally addictive. It's not marketing, it's neurological warfare against children. Number 5. Yoplait Kids Yogurt. The sugar milk deception. Yoplait Kids. The packaging shows happy children, fruit, and promises of calcium and probiotics. Parents buy this believing they're making a healthy choice. The marketing positioning is genius. Position it as breakfast. Breakfast is healthy, yogurt is healthy, therefore, this is healthy breakfast. But let's break down the actual formula. Plain yogurt, 0 grams added sugar. That's the baseline. Yoplait Kids, 16 to 19 grams of added sugar per 100 grams. You're literally feeding your child flavored sugar milk. The probiotics destroyed by the processing. Most yogurt probiotics don't survive stomach acid. The marketing around probiotics is one of the largest health deceptions in the food industry. You could eat a bowl of this daily and gain minimal probiotic benefit, but the real damage is behavioral. You're teaching your child to reward behavior with sweet food. Your child gets good grades? Yoplait Kids Yogurt. Good behavior. Yoplait Kids Yogurt. You're creating neural pathways where sweetness equals reward. By adolescence, your child's brain associates achievement with sugar consumption. This predicts eating disorders, weight gain, and metabolic disease. Yoplait is owned by Sodial, a French multinational. In France, children's yogurt contains half the sugar. In Canada, they reformulate for looser regulations. The same company, same brand, different formulations based on what they can get away with. They know the Canadian formulation is worse. They sell it anyway. Number 4. Kraft Dinner. The neurological damage. You can't see Kraft Dinner. Over 4 million boxes sold annually in Canada. Parents serve it because it's fast, it's cheap, it's what they grew up eating. But it's also slowly damaging your child's brain. The cheese powder packet contains whey, milk fat, salt, milk proteins, yellow 5, yellow 6, sodium phosphate, soy lecithin, sodium silicoaluminate, and lactose. The yellow color isn't from cheese, it's synthetic dye. Yellow 5 and yellow 6, the European Union requires warning labels on these, may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Canada requires no such label. The same research that prompted the EU warning exists in Canada. Health Canada knows about it. They allow it anyway. One serving of Kraft Dinner contains 860 milligrams of sodium. Health Canada recommends 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams total daily for children ages 4 to 8. One bowl of mac and cheese, and your child has consumed 57% of their daily sodium limit before lunch. The enriched pasta is refined flour with synthetic B vitamins added back. It has zero fiber. Nutritionally, it's empty calories. But neurologically, it's damaging. The high sodium intake creates hypertension in childhood. Blood pressure elevation that persists into adulthood. Children eating Kraft Dinner regularly from ages 4 to 18 have chronically elevated blood pressure during their critical developmental years. Add artificial dyes to this equation. Yellow 5 and yellow 6 interact with the developing brain's neurotransmitter systems. Studies show hyperactivity, attention problems, and behavioral issues correlate with consumption. Teachers report classroom disruption after lunch. Parents medicate their children for ADHD when the actual problem is the food in their lunchbox. Kraft Heinz knows this. They've seen the research. They continue selling it because they reported $28 billion in revenue and shareholders' demand growth. Number 2. Honey Nut Cheerios, the brain development crisis. Honey Nut Cheerios, the breakfast cereal that parents serve believing they're making a nutritious choice. The marketing is perfectly designed: whole grain, fiber, honey, bee imagery, wholesome. Parents feel virtuous feeding this to their children. But 12 grams of sugar per serving is nearly a full day's recommended sugar intake for a child. In the developing brain, during the critical windows of neural development that occur in childhood, that sugar has measurable effects on cognition, impulse control, and attention. The ingredient list includes BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene, a preservative banned in the European Union due to potential endocrine disrupting effects. It's still allowed in Canada. The same research that prompted the EU ban exists in our regulatory system. Health Canada allows it anyway. Your child's developing endocrine system being exposed to chemicals that have been identified as potentially harmful. The effects are subtle. They manifest as slightly lower cognitive performance, slightly more behavioral problems, slightly higher obesity rates. Across a population, these are measured increases in developmental delays and metabolic disease. General Mills employs child psychologists to design cereal box packaging. They study what appeals to children at different developmental stages. They research which cartoon characters drive purchase requests. They've optimized the packaging to maximize child desire. They've formulated the cereal to maximize sugar content within regulatory limits. This is intentional. It's research-driven, it's optimized. Number 3, Lunchables, packaged disease Lunchables, the prepackaged lunch. Processed ham, processed cheese, crackers, all compartmentalized for convenience. Parents buy them thinking they're balanced meals. Nutritionally, they're constructed disease. One package contains processed ham with sodium nitrite preservative, American cheese primarily emulsifiers and salt, and crackers refined flour, soybean oil, salt. The sodium content, 1,100 milligrams, the added sugar, 24 grams. The nitrites, linked in over 40 studies to colorectal cancer development. The World Health Organization classified processed meat as a group 1 carcinogen in 2015, that has the same classification as tobacco. Children consuming Lunchables regularly are consuming carcinogenic compounds during their developmental years. The disease takes decades to manifest, but the damage is being done in elementary school. By the time a child reaches adulthood, the cancer risk is already established. Mondelez International, the manufacturer, markets Lunchables heavily to children through school sponsorships. These products are the standard snack at hockey tournaments, soccer games, and school events. They're normalized as lunch. Parents believe they're making a reasonable choice. They're actually providing carcinogenic food to their children. And when the cancer appears 40 years later, no one connects it to the Lunchables they ate in 3rd grade. Number 1. Gushers and Squeeze-It drinks. The dopamine hijacking Gushers, the fruit snack with a liquid center. The packaging promises burst of flavor and appeals directly to children through bright colors and cartoon imagery. The front says made with real fruit juice. The reality, less than 3% fruit juice. The remaining 97% is corn syrup, sugar, cornstarch, dextrose, gelatin, citric acid, carnauba wax, beeswax, artificial flavor, red 40, blue 1, yellow 5, and yellow 6. Each gusher contains 1 gram of sugar in approximately 2 grams of product. A typical serving is for gushers, that's for grams of sugar. But children don't eat 1 serving. They eat the entire box 12 gushers, and they're consuming 12 grams of sugar from essentially no nutrition. But the colored dyes are the real issue here. Red 40, blue 1, yellow 5, and yellow 6 are synthetic dyes that cross the blood-brain barrier and interact with dopamine and serotonin systems. Studies in the Journal of Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics show these dyes correlate with hyperactivity, attention deficit, and impulsivity in children. Now, at Squeeze-It drinks, marketed as juice, 28 grams of sugar per bottle. More sugar than a can of Coke. A child drinking 1 Squeeze-It and eating 1 box of Gushers per day is consuming 40 grams of added sugar from just these 2 products. The FDA is currently phasing out 9 synthetic dyes. Canada still allows them. The FDA recognizes the developmental harm. Canada does not. Or rather, Canada recognizes it and allows it anyway because the corporations profit more than the children's brains are damaged. By the way, a lawsuit was just filed against these exact companies in December 2024. The claim intentional design and marketing of addictive ultra-processed foods to children, causing chronic disease. The companies knew they still do it because profits exceed penalties.